Hi, my name is Jessie and welcome to my yarn studio. So this is episode 1 of an intended series of knitting podcasts and other knitting or crochet related videos. My name is Jessie. I am a student studying in Boston currently, but I grew up in San Francisco and I have a long background of sewing, but when I came to school I couldn't bring my machine with me, so I needed to find another type of craft that was more suitable to a dorm space. So I had previously knit and crochet in the past, but not a ton, and especially for knitting, not since I was like 6 years old. But I decided to pick it back up and I have not looked back since. I started crocheting again maybe about 4 months ago, and I picked up knitting maybe like 3 months ago, so that's where I'm at. I was inspired by all of the lovely knitting podcasts I've seen on YouTube lately to do this, and I think it'll be a lot of fun. Get to share what I make and get to talk to other knitters on YouTube. So usually the way these are structured is that you've got a couple categories. Usually you start by talking about your finished objects, and then your works in progress, and then new yarn acquisitions, maybe plans for the future, things like that. I don't have any works in progress since the last episode because this is the first one, but I will show you a lot of things I've made since picking back up knitting and crochet. And I will be calling this a knitting podcast because I primarily knit now, but I do have a bunch of crochet stuff. Crochet finished objects from a couple months ago when I was only doing that. So my first crochet project is actually a black sweater. It's pretty basic. I don't actually have it here to show you because I have since unraveled it for the yarn for a different finished object that I'll show you a little later. But it wasn't anything special. It was mostly just to get familiar with crochet and comfortable making things. But for my second finished object, I have this sweater right here. And neither of those used a pattern. Like, this was improvised, although I did heavily follow a YouTube tutorial for crochet sweater in the round for this one, so I can link that in the description. But this one is a nice little stripe. It's got like a gradiated stripe, which I think is super cute. I was super excited to make this. This is just improvised. The yarn is just from my local dollar store. It's here, let me get this is a different color, but it's from the Just Yarn worsted. It's pretty cheap acrylic. It worked for my purposes because I wasn't trying to make anything super special. I was just trying to, get my skills going and play around with different things. I really love the way the stripes turned out and the different colors, but I never wear it, which is unfortunate. I think it's just slightly off, like it's a slightly weird shape around the body, but oh well. If anything, it was a very good learning experience. And now for my second crochet sweater. Oh, and yeah, for context, I mostly only make sweaters because that's all that I wear. So this is my second crochet sweater. This one is a little different. It's from the same brand of acrylic yarn from the dollar store, but this one's a little funky because instead of working, rows up and down, the rows are actually worked side to side to create this ribbing effect, which is how you mainly do ribbing in crochet. I did half double crochet into the back loop for this. And I made a whole pattern for this on Google Docs, and I actually planned the cuffs so they decreased into slip stitches in the back or single crochets to like cinch up the cuffs, so I thought that was super cool. I also don't wear this one a ton. If it's a little funky, it has a tendency to bow to the right or to the left, I can't remember, when I wear it, which makes it a little strange to wear, and it kind of flares out around the waist in a weird way. But the process of creating the pattern and testing, like I made this and then I unraveled it and I made it and I unraveled it till I got it right, and unraveling is a theme. But I think it was super cool to make, and I had a lot of fun, and I felt very proud of myself for coming up with this, although it's definitely not a new thing. Lots of people make sweaters that are worked up and down, like side to side. So yeah, this is my third sweater I have made. And then for my fourth sweater, we have this bad boy. So this is my first knit project. Sorry, it's black. I don't know how you're gonna be able to see it, but this is actually the yarn from my first crochet sweater. It's the Big Twist, I think just normal Big Twist acrylic. I got it from Joann's. It's in a black color. It's pretty basic. And this was my proof of concept for knitting. I did actually follow a pattern for this. It was from the Bellish app. I'm not exactly sure how they're working. I think that they said they were going to shut down, but then you can still access their app. But it's a service where you can put in your measurements and different specifications, like different collar heights and sleeve lengths and fits, and of course all your sizes and stuff, and they will make you a custom knitting pattern, which is super cool, and it's a free app. So check it out if it's still up. I'm not sure, but I do believe they also have some pre-made patterns on their website you can check out. So yeah, this is my sweater. It's very basic raglan construction. It's got some 2x2 ribbing on the collar and on the sleeves and on the hem. It's worked top down. So the way they had me do it was make a long chain and then like work down. So work in the flat for the beginning while you shape the neckline, and then you join it in the round and work down. So this was the beginning of my knitting process. So I was actually doing a couple things wrong that I didn't realize. I don't know if you'll be able to see it here, but I can insert a photo. When I was working flat, so back and forth with rows of knits and rows of purls, I didn't realize I was actually twisting my purl stitches. So it creates a kind of knobbly look on the front. And then you can kind of see a pretty clear line where it transitions from the worked in the flat section to worked in the round section, which isn't a big deal. I don't think you'd notice it if you weren't a knitter or if I hadn't pointed it out, but you learn, you live and you learn, you improve. But I think this is super cool. It's pretty versatile. I like wearing it under like mock neck sweaters or over mock neck sweaters, and I'm really proud of it. I think it's nice. It is starting to pill a lot though, so don't know what to do about that. So for my next finished object, I don't actually have it on me again because it was a gift. So I made a 2x2 ribbed hat from the same dollar store acrylic, but actually in this color. It was inspired by the Pearl Soho watch cap, although it's a completely different weight of yarn, so I just improvised with the stitch counts and stuff. But I really liked it. Does a sort of, it decreases and it creates sort of a spiral, so you decrease in like 6 different areas around the brim, and then they all like converge to the center in a really cool way. So it was just knitting and purling in a tube till I got to the decrease, and it was a nice project. I made this project after I realized that I needed to learn how to purl correctly, so it was really good for that because I knit continental, so I just kind of switched it because it made more sense based on how you hold the yarn with knitting continental. So yeah, it was just good to have a lot of purling in there to reinforce how to do it properly. Alright, so the last finished object I have to show for you is kind of a silly one. I got this blanket yarn from Joann's as well. It's like really, really big. It's all acrylic, I believe, or microfiber. It's all synthetic. But I made a funky bucket hat that I totally improvised. I didn't intend to crochet it at first, but I only have crochet hooks through a size 8, and it just wasn't working. It was way too thick. I couldn't see anything I was doing, so I ended up knitting it. And it's pretty lumpy, you know, there's some lumps here, the decreases on the brim aren't super smooth, but it's kind of cute to wear. It's pretty silly, and I like it. I wear it occasionally. Knit bucket hat. Alright, so now I'm going to move on to the section for works in progress, or WIPs, and I have a couple, but it's kind of a tricky situation. So the first one I'm going to show you is this cream fluffy sweater. It's got 2x2 ribbing on the collar. It's kind of a mock neck, kind of a crew neck. So far I only have the body done, working on the sleeves. Looks good, right? I think this is the like 4th time I've started knitting this yarn. It's always been a sweater of this basic construction, but I did not like it every single time. Like the first time I improvised and then I dropped a stitch and then it was too tight, so I just redid it. Second time I was trying to add short rows, but they'd never done them before, so I put them in the wrong spot, so they just like bubbled up in the back, so that was all weird. Second time, or third time, the collar was wrong. This is the fourth time. Hopefully I will get it done. The only thing is, I bought this yarn on Thanksgiving, and I don't know if I'm in love with the fuzzy texture anymore. But I do want to finish it, because if I don't wear it, I can give it to someone that I know and someone else will get use out of it. So the yarn is the Red Heart Hygge yarn. It is also all acrylic, and it's got like a base strand and then like eyelash woven into it. So it's almost like you're holding yarn double like you would with mohair, except it's just all woven in. And it gives a slightly different effect because it's like little wispy lashes instead of just like a general halo like you would get with mohair. So yeah, this is how it's going. Oh, for the construction, so just 2x2 ribbing on the collar. Then it's got single shoulder seams where I did increases every round, some short rows shaping to add height, because I really hate it when sweaters aren't differentiated front to back. I don't like it when it's like choking me. That actually is a reason why I don't wear this one as much, because I did not know to add shaping front and back to make it lie differently. Like this is just me holding it. It really is symmetrical. So that's one reason why I don't wear this one. So I gotta implement it, my knowledge in future sweaters, so I actually get use out of them. So yeah, I think it's kind of nice. It was heavily inspired by the seamless mock neck sweater by Well Loved Knits, although, and I purchased the pattern and everything, although I'm not actually following it to a T. But yeah, I think it's fun. It's very soft, cozy, maybe not my style, but a nice sweater regardless. All right, now for my second work in progress. It's also a sweater, surprise. It's actually this brown raglan sweater. It's got a nice little mock neck. I am almost done with the body ribbing. I'm so close. I just need maybe half an inch or an inch more, but I'm very close. So this one's got 2x1 ribbing, so 2 knits, 1 purl, which I think is cool. It almost creates, because like when it cinches, it almost just looks like stockinette, which is kind of cool, but it's like a more subtle ribbing, which is nice. This is a very basic raglan construction. This was inspired by the sweater number 9 by My Favorite Things Knitwear, but I'm not following the pattern or anything. I just liked the way the raglan stitches looked. So my raglan is 2 knits and then a purl on either side, and then I do my increases, and I actually continued it down into the body, and then it continues into the ribbing, which I think is fun. I don't know, little details like that are kind of a marker for me of my improvement, because they signify like being able to think ahead and plan things and just knowing how my projects are going to work up. So this one is also kind of a complicated work in progress. It's not the fourth, but it is the second time I knit this yarn. You can see the almost completely depleted carcass of the first time that I'm just using off of it. So this is originally a different pattern that I got off Ravelry. It had a saddle shoulder construction. It was cool, it was kind of bunching in the wrong area, and I just wanted it to be perfect, because this yarn, actually, I have a hank left. Yeah, so I was redoing the sweater because I want it to be perfect, because it's kind of a special yarn. So this is the yarn. It's from Madeline Tosh. It is 100% wool, 100% superwash merino wool. It is a single ply, which I didn't know to look at when I bought it. It's kind of cool. It's somewhere between like a worsted and an Aran weight. And it's in this nice like tonal brown, and I think it's super pretty. But I actually got this yarn from my parents. We went to go pick it out together in a yarn store for my birthday, which was in January. And birthday yarn is special, so I want the project to be perfect, you know? So that's why I'm doing it. Although I have a lot of faith in this version. So hopefully this will work out. Cross my fingers. But that's the amazing thing about knitting and crochet is that, I mean, unless it's a super fuzzy yarn, you pretty much can just undo it and redo it and fix your mistakes and totally transform pieces in a different shape and a different purpose. So I think that's super cool. Alright, so my last work in progress doesn't really look like much. It's another hat. It's the same dollar store acrylic. It works fine. I'm trying to move towards natural fibers. I'll talk about that a little later. But anyways, I was just gonna make a simple beanie. It's all in stockinette, although I did do a brim that I folded up and then knit together, so when I wear it, I can fold it up. And it's got this nice thick edge, and you also won't see the purl side when I've got the brim on the hat. So I'm almost done with the first ball of yarn for this, so I need to get another and then I can finish it. But it's nice, it's mindless stockinette. Good to do while you're not thinking about anything. So that finishes all of my works in progress. So now I'm going to move on to the yarn acquisitions section. So I have somewhat of a yarn stash. I don't have a ton, which is good. I'm trying to keep it that way. Can't buy too much yarn. I don't want to overconsume yarn that I can't use or will just fall out of love with in a couple months. But I do have a couple things that a couple quantities of yarn that I have plans for, or mainly just one. So I have this 100% cotton yarn. It's also from the dollar store. It's from the same brand, Premier. It's the Just Cotton. I think it's like a DK weight or a worsted weight. I'm not sure. But I have two projects in mind for this. So I am either going to knit a summer top, maybe like a tank top with some white straps and ribbing in the back, or I'm going to knit the Friday Knits Daphne top. It's like a beautiful blouse. I think that would be super cool. Or I might make a crochet top because my sister has been bugging me to make her a crochet top inspired by a particular one. I'm sorry, I don't remember the brand name or anything, but I can put in the description and I'll put a photo of it if they're still selling it and everything. But she wants me to recreate it for her. So I have some variegated white and blue yarn at home that she purchased that I'm gonna make her the version for her in, but I was thinking I might make one for myself, work out all the kinks, and this would be a good candidate for it. So we'll see what I plan to do with it. I've got 8 of these. So each of these is 80 meters, so that is 640 meters. So I don't know how much I can make with that, but I can always go get more. So that's cool. All right, so next, not exactly a yarn acquisition, more like a planned yarn acquisition. I have been eyeing all of the yarns on Drop's website. They are a supplier of yarn. I think they're from the UK, but you can order them to the US through a bunch of different distributors. And they have a lot of lovely natural fibers, including alpaca. And I really want to make something in alpaca. And they have just their basic 100% alpaca. I believe it's like a light DK fingering weight. And I would love to make a sweater out of that. But I need to finish my brown sweater and I need to finish my cream sweater before I even think about ordering that. So we'll see. And I've kind of been struggling to pick out a color. So I can make it in like a nice cream, because I like cream a lot. I can make it in a green like this. I don't know. What do you think? So that is all of my acquisitions, or intended acquisitions. So now I will wrap this up. I think this was super fun. I would like to continue this. I've got a kind of janky setup, you know, I've got my phone stacked on storage boxes. So if you have any tips for how to improve the setup, the lighting, anything, just let me know. That would be great. I appreciate any input. I really love knitting and crocheting, and I like sharing it with other people, and I like talking about it with other people, and I think this could be really fun. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Hope you have a great day.